Well, no, we ain't fine. But I always say the absence of evidence is not the evidence of evidence.
What?
Johannesburg Distillery, Alchemy Gin Distillery. We specialize in gin, 7 different types of gin. And the way that these products came about, so to speak, is because the master distiller cannot have a drink without having a smoke. So he decided to fuse the two together. And he did it very brilliantly. Okay, so we came to showcase the product today here at the box shop. Get it out to the market here in Soweto. Perfect day. Met some guys from Chiva last week who invited me over, so
Nice.
we couldn't turn down the opportunity.
Why would you?
Exactly.
Why would you?
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting. So where's the gin from?
So our distillery is a Midrand. Okay, everything here is made, and our distillery is made from scratch. So we produce our own pure alcohol, and from there make our gin. So the two that are on display here today is the Norwegian and the Purple Haze. So basically, I'll start with the Purple Haze first. So what we do there is that we extract from the bud, okay, a full spectrum extraction, okay, and we pour it in. So we call this a blended gin, okay. So that's where we add this lovely feature, because every time you need to pour, you need to shake the bottle up. Because the cannabis, yes, that's right. Because the cannabis settles at the bottom.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And then and the side.
So this side, what we do is we distill our gin in extra time. Okay, and we add the cannabis into that process. So basically, what happens in the distilling process is the cannabis full spectrum as well gets infused into the alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the difference between these two is that this is much more smoother. This has got a grapefruit flavor, but here you taste the cannabis more.
I thought you taste the cannabis more. This one.
Because of the grapefruit flavor here, you would taste the grapefruit first on the front of your palate, and you would taste the cannabis at the back of your
Makes
palate.
sense.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
Makes sense.
But great tasting, good quality. We pride ourselves in making very high quality alcohol.
Amazing. Speaking of high quality and making things and moves, the conversation today, throughout the day, has been the day that changed South African history. This, that, blah blah blah. And you guys are here doing something significant or being part of a very significant movement and movement at the very same time. And my question today has been, what does June 16 mean to you? And that's just basically it.
Okay. Look, I grew up a little bit at almost towards the end of the apartheid era. I know what it feels like to be subjected to that type of the hate and stuff that happened within the apartheid time. I was quite small, been subjected to it a few times. Grew up, loved the change that happened. Okay, came in once. I think about 6 years ago. Did a tour of Vilakazi Street. Went through the whole history.
Yeah.
Being at the actual place where the actual incidents happened, and it's amazing that how we've grown, right, from that time where that incident happened, which changed the whole
dynamics
of our country.
very true.
So absolutely was a bit sad, okay, of course, but certain events in history had to have happened in order for to move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you on that. You know, like speaking of events that had to take place, the movement of the students had to happen for South Africa to become what it is today. You know,
Absolutely.
because, a lot of people never knew what really happened inside South Africa during the time of apartheid, and it's only when that movement of the students, I mean, studying boycotting of classes from the likes of the month of May, prepping on the peaceful march, which took place on that very month of June, same year, you know, and fighting for the educational right, or rather the abolishment of Afrikaans as the medium of instruction. It really changed so many things and aspects and perspectives on how to live. You know, I was having a conversation earlier on with one of the guests on the show, and I was like, the reason why I got to be where I am right now, in all truth and honesty, it's all because of June 16. Because I'm from this very neighborhood, Orlando West, you know, and I'm that generation who grew up meeting different types of people who've been part and parcel of the regime itself, whether it's black, white, Indian. I mean, school for me was really interesting, Mr. P. Like, I grew up attending school in Indonesia, you know, and I'm a 92, by the way. So apartheid just ended yesterday when I started school. I was the first black child in the whole family to go to a multiracial school, and that was really confusing, interesting, and annoying at a certain extent. You know, because when I started school, we were like 5-7 black kids in the whole school. We don't know each other, and the dynamics. And I come again from a society of confusion and fear. You know, I'm raised by these very individuals who were part and parcel of what took place. I'm raised within the neighborhood where most of those iconic, terrible movements took place, like the 16th of June 1976 student uprising. And I sit down as a kid and think, ask myself, how did we get there? Or how did they get there? And how am I here today? You know, the first black kid in the whole black family to go to a multiracial school. Who did what for me to have that privilege? It's a generational thing.
Absolutely.
And it's so amazing that today you and I can sit like this on have such conversations, you know,
and back then in the day we were put into boxes.
Exactly. No,
and testified. Exactly.
I never knew that at some point I'll get to attend school in Lenasia.
Exactly.
Current group was moved to Chinese group was moved to Cyril Dean, or the Cantonese quarter. The person moved to Kliptown. And we were left to start all over again after being moved from Johannesburg, Newtown, Brixfield, if I may put it, being the old name. You know, we were all together, but we were later separated according to skin color.
Absolutely.
And we had to find means and ways to reconnect, because our history is our history. It has to do with you. There's a role Indian people played in South Africa, apart from the apartheid regime story. You know, you go to the likes of Cape Town, we never really had that much of an idea in terms of the likes of sugarcane farming and all of that. And that's where you guys came with a better understanding of wetlands and whatsoever, and better ideologies and methods to the likes of plantation of, you know, the sugar canes and stuff. So we all needed each other to,
absolutely,
you know, and it's really crazy and amazing to live in a country like South Africa,
absolutely,
you know, which just got past the most horrible period on earth that has ever been seen by any part or group of people living in a specific place. I'm not saying it was only bad for black people, it was bad for the likes of Indian people who didn't like what the apartheid government was doing. There was an Indian, someone asking himself, why is a black man not the same as I am? Why doesn't he live in the same house as I am? Why does he have to stay down the road in a place like Kliptown, whereas I have to start off in a nice little good looking suburb like Eldorado Park or Lenasia, if you want to be Indian. And it's amazing, if I may say the word again, to be like this and be so different, if one is to say, But for the mere fact that we are able to be one and connect like we are now, that simply means we are really one race, which is the human race.
Absolutely.
You know,
100%
we share
agree with you
different
there.
interests and passions, but we always find ways of merging and being one. And that's basically the ideology behind what the students had in their heads, that we have to be one. If one is to be taught in such a system, so be it for everyone. You know, can we not be the only ones who are taught biology, physical science, and geography all in a foreign language? Because Afrikaans is a foreign language, which to me didn't make sense, because I went to Lenasia for school and I did Afrikaans, and I was made to feel bad for failing Afrikaans. And one day I asked my teacher, and I was like, do I need this to enroll in university? Because that's where my view is at. That's where I'm headed to. Do I need this? They were like, no. There's no Afrikaans at university. They were like, so why am I made to feel bad, or this subject made compulsory? And what I could have response of, well, you should have went to black schools in Soweto. Fair enough. And I was like, okay. I'm here now. Kid. So it's the same with history lessons. As a black kid in a history lesson in Asia schools, it was as if my white teacher is told, hey, South African history to me is Mandela, 1994, 2004. Whereas at home I get a different perspective, different viewpoint from someone who was there. Unlike someone like Mandela who was away for like 27 years. I have people who raised me who were here fighting the real fight, running the streets, dodging those bullets and all of that in this very neighborhood where all of that occurred, you know. And it's really amazing to meet someone like you today and all the other people who we had to host at the show today share this amazing movement we have today, you know. So it was really a pleasure to have you. I'm a cannabis fan. I saw a lot of stuff that have to do with cannabis today. Hosted a lot of people that have to do with the cannabis community at large. So I've never had any of this, heard of it as well. So I'll come pay you a visit at your store. Hopefully I'll get away with the bottle today and keep it as a souvenir for a very special moment, maybe next year's 420. But anyway, Mr. P, it was really amazing to have you. Let me not take too much of your time. You have some work to do, a pop-up you have running outside. So let's just embrace and enjoy, and happy youth month to you as well, my brother.
To you too. Thank you.
So my friend too, it's me, Pira, and this is TEP, and this is, of course, most definitely our last show. Thank you so much for tuning in and being part of the very annual movement we've been celebrating as a country at large for the past 47 years. It's your boy Pira again. We are live outside the Bookshop Online Radio, celebrating in partnership with We Uprising, and of course, shout out to our sponsors, the Bookshop Online Radio, Tologazi Beer, and our main feed being SJ Travel Tours. We still stick to this, celebrating Black history and being one and being together. Shout out.
Well, no.